Hey everyone, Brian here. Getting a bit of a late start on this. It's actually after 5 o'clock in the evening. Luckily, I don't have to go to work, but I got a goal. I'd like to get this completely stripped, dash off, fenders off, get tank out. Tank's already been drained, and basically have a bare frame here. I'm not going to cut this tonight. I got respect for my neighbors, so I'm not going to do that. But I'd like to get this down to the chassis and leave the rear end in it. So I got a different idea on what I'm going to do with this before I cut it. I'm actually going to keep from here back for the high section, because this part here matches, from here down to the bottom, just underneath the rocker here, matches my other tractor, my new one. And then I'm going to actually keep a section of the floor that comes up to roughly right here. I might even keep all the way up to here, because from here forward it's pretty much, it's pooched. That's where the frame's cracked up in this area right here. So I might cut it right across here, basically right where the firewall is, straight across. And I call this the firewall because that's kind of what it is. Like if you're thinking about a car aspect, that would be the firewall, separating the engine from the rest of the vehicle. But in this, it's a tractor, so it's separating the engine from the main harness, the steering, etc., etc. So I'm thinking about cutting it right here. Now let's go over to the other tractor. Basically, that whole section will actually slide in to the back end of this. Then I'll be able to adjust it to right where I want it, and I'll be able to put the section right where I want it. And that bed frame steel I got, a piece of that will go on the bottom, basically to the front transmission mount, and then a piece will go on the top. Most likely the top will continue straight out the back as far as it will go. Basically use the longest piece I got, and that will go right out the back, and that will also support the bed. So by doing it this way, it should actually be overall quite a bit stronger. I've actually learned quite a bit. I said this in one of my comments. I was saying to somebody, I've learned a lot since I built the other truck, and a lot of people, the guy was actually saying that's a good thing, and it's really a good thing to know and basically learn from your mistakes, and which I have. I did quite a few mistakes with the truck. They all worked out in the end, but I was always thinking to myself, I could have did this differently. I could have did that differently, and I am going to be doing it differently this time. Also on this, while I'm at this tractor here, at the back fender, the tank is roughly right here. That's the edge of the tank. So this whole back half will actually be cut off, and the bed's actually going to be basically go into here. I'd like to keep the side curves. It all depends on what bed I use. I don't know if I'm going to take the one from the truck or this box right here. I'd actually like to use this one right here, but I don't know yet. These trailers they're cheap enough to buy, so if I did chop this one up, it's not a big deal, and I'm not using it. So it's just sitting here anyways. And I gain this much space if this box is gone. So I gain a space for a tractor. I can actually park the truck over here and hold on to the truck longer, the old truck, if I really wanted to. But by doing this, the frame's going to be a lot shorter. But and then basically the back of this will hang over the back, which I don't mind as long as I have the steel rails in there to support it. It's not a big deal. I just gotta get a measurement on this, check the width, and see how it compares to the new tractor, and see how it goes from there. Basically, I want the wheels to be right around the middle of the box. I like that look. I don't want it too far back. I don't want it too far forward. For obvious reasons, I don't want it too far forward. If you get a lot of weight in the back, it's going to make it tipsy, and it's going to make it harder on the transaxle. So that's the idea right there, is to use this box right here. The box that's on the truck right now is way too small. It's been too small. It does not work for my work, for what I use it for at work. It's tight. I got everything in there what I need to use for work, but it is pretty tight. It would be nicer to have a bigger box. So that's the game plan right now, to get this stripped and to get it all working out. And here is the old one right here. Just a hint, I work at a paper factory. And some people say, well, why do you use your truck at work? Because I make deliveries around the facility with my truck. It's easier than using a handcart. And I don't have a forklift license, so it's easier to use that. They don't care. So simple as that. This little sneak peek hint of what I do it involves paper. So I know some of the haters have tried to make ideas on what I do, but they were wrong. So, but anyways, that's what I use my truck for. I use it at work, and no, they don't. Unfortunately, don't pay me to build it. I build it because I use it for my own use as well. That's also why I gotta keep it quiet and I gotta keep it clean as well, because it doesn't go in the factory, but it goes close to the factory, and the big bosses don't like anything overly dirty going near the factory too much. So I guess that's the idea right there. Basically, reuse a good portion of this existing frame, and I might not even take this transmission off of here. I might just put it on, leave the hydro in there, or graft it in with the hydro still in there. See how far in it will go with the hydro. Measure up the box, new box over there. See how far in I want that, and see how far I want that hanging over the back, and figure it out. If I gotta pull the transmission off and swap it into there for temporary, so until I get the 4-wheel drive working, I will. But it's not a big deal. I can either do it or I don't have to do it. So that's just my idea as of right now. It should actually work out, because all this here is coming along the edge. Take that brake off for a second. I'm thinking, yeah, because that's hanging over. Because this here all hangs over right here. So this here is the inside width of that frame. So this here should slide into that frame and slide over the back. That's what I'm thinking. Because this panel here will be off, and that will actually bring it back to right here, and that should slide in. So that's my idea. Obviously, once I take it apart, I'll be able to see it for a fact if this idea is going to work. And I'm thinking it should actually work out pretty good. So that's pretty much it for this video. And I did blow the head gasket on that single cylinder horizontal. I can hear it hissing out the side, so I'm gonna have to get a new head gasket for that. If I warp the head, I got 2 extra heads right there, not a big deal. So I don't think I warped the head. All I did was loosen off the 1 bolt. So there are 2 bolts. Hopefully I didn't warp the head, but if I did, I got extra heads anyways for it, and a ruler. I'll just make sure to see if it warped or not. Most likely the deck of the engine didn't warp. I most likely just warped the head a bit. Not a big deal. So I will talk to you later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please try and comment.